Now Fed announced their first rate cut in US. I think a lot of my clients have asked this question, should we buy now or should we wait? So I'm actually the wrong person to ask for this question, because in real estate, my mindset is if you find a good deal, just buy it. I bought 7 homes for myself this year. Fed had done their first rate cut, which is 0.5 basis. They are not going to cut anything more after election. So my thought in this is, whoever is going to come, till he comes and says we are going to have a 1 year path of 5 cuts, 6 cuts, 7 cuts next year, or 3 cuts, right? It's not going to make any impact. Europe already had, I think, 3 cuts. Canada had 3 cuts before US did their first cut, and their real estate market has not gone crazy. It is where it was before. What happens normally is when the rate cut starts happening, there are a lot of people who are holding their properties and they just got into it because their friends got into it or their family members got into it. They will be the one who will say, okay, this is not manageable by me. So they will put their properties back into market. So there will be some inventory increase, which is general. If this rate cuts happen by the government, then those inventories will be eaten up by people. For example, in Austin, people in Austin don't buy property. Like all the properties in Austin bought by people living in Austin. They're bought by people all over US. I'll give you a number. Last year in November, there were 7,000 homes available, 25-mile radius from where I live. 25-mile radius. They had an expectation of rate cuts. January, that number went down to 4,000 something. People in Austin are not buying those properties. People all over US are buying those properties. So for me, next 3 months will be a similar situation. Some people will put their houses in market because they think now the market will improve, the inventory will remain stable. But once the government gives a clear indication that inflation is under control, we're going to do X number of rate cuts, then actually the rise of prices will start happening. This all has to align. If I'm an investor, what will I look for next 3 months? Every builder has a year end. Some of them have a year end in November 31st. Some of them have a year end in December 31st. I would look at those builders' inventories. Look at the best opportunities to get those houses now. Work with those as my strategy to buy. I would not look at Fed as my only point in this whole picture. If I can bet a property which is listed for 500, for a 400 for myself or my client, I'll just happily pick it, because once the market goes back to normal, right, the rates goes down back to the 3s and 4s, this all will become back to 600, 700. It's a simple demand and supply situation. For every 1 basis point cut, 5 million people in US are more eligible to buy home. So if they cut down 2 basis point next year, there is 10 million more people who are eligible to buy a home in US. Forget about those promises, right? 25,000 to a first time home buyer, all that stuff, all that thing. They don't even need to do all that stuff to make this market go back to normal. This automatically goes back to normal if they cut back 2.3 points. There is so many people who are eligible to buy homes in this country. So my simple strategy for next 3 months is I'll look at the builder inventory. I'll look at the builders who are coming to year end. Wait for those right times and then book a house. If somebody's end of the year is November 31st, you should look at October last week as you getting into contract. If somebody's at December 31st, you should look at November first week or October last week to get into that contract for that builder, because the maximum incentives will happen during that week. So I will look at those incentives as my first point of contact, and then yes, the rates will come down. They cannot be like this all over every time. They will automatically come down. It's just a matter of your capacity to hold your properties. Real estate is a long-term game. Just become a long-term investor. If your property becomes 20% more, your down payment becomes double. That is basically 100% return. Even if it happens in 5 years, it is a 20% return year over year, which is very, very safe. You can see your property. It's not like sitting on a note somewhere somebody can hack. So that's it. Thank you so much.